Despite budgeting over 3.2 trillion naira for the security sector in the 2024 budget, President Tinubu-led administration is set to implement the recently rolled out Cybersecurity Act, which will empower the Office of the National Security Advisor. The levy is part of the Cybercrime Prevention and Prohibition Act 2024 as amended. The new tax comes amidst escalating socio-economic crisis following the removal of fuel subsidy, floating of the naira, and the hike in electricity tariffs. All these are in addition to other taxes imposed on the citizens. However, there are controversies surrounding the scope of implementation of the Cybersecurity Levy. Already, the House of Representatives has directed the Central Bank of Nigeria to withdraw the circular directing banks to start deductions on all electronic transactions from Nigerians. Well, is this cybersecurity tax necessary at this moment? And who exactly should pay for it? On Daily Politics tonight, we'll try to find answers to these questions and many more as the program unfolds. Be on standby to join the conversation and tell us what you think through a dedicated phone line that will be displayed on your screen later. Thank you very much for joining, and I am Hamza Idris. I have in the studio an economist and development expert, Aliyu Ilias, who will assist in examining the policy. Aliyu, thank you for coming to Daily Politics tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Have you paid your taxes?
Well, we are paying taxes in Nigeria.
All right, good. We will hear more from you. Now let's take some tidbits. Search and rescue operation is ongoing in Kogi State after bandits invaded Confluence University of Science and Technology, Osara, in Okene, and abducted scores of students. Sources say the terrorists who infiltrated the campus through the bush entered 3 lecture halls and fired shots sporadically. In a statement on Friday, Governor Amir Ododo has assured parents that the abducted students will be rescued. And elsewhere, a high court in Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital, has restrained the 25 members of the State Assembly from parading themselves as lawmakers. Justice Charles N. Wali gave the order on Friday, saying the lawmakers' seats had been declared vacant. Martin Amewule, the Speaker, and 25 other legislators affected by the ruling are loyal to Nwesen Wike, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. They had defected to the All Progressive Congress at the height of the rift between Wike and Governor Siminalayi Fubara. After their defection, their seats were said to have been declared vacant. This latest judgment comes after some members of the River State Assembly loyal to Fubara elected member representing Boni constituency, Victor Okojumbo, as their new speaker. We'll take a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Welcome back. Yes, Aliyu.
Right.
Our topic of discussion today, taxes, and taxes. But we have tidbits. Number one, a sad one, of course, from Kogi State, the abduction of students from, the State University of Science and Technology. What is your take on that?
It's quite sad. That's my state. So I think it actually affects...
I'm not even aware that you are from...
That's my state. But the thing is Ododo must have to be careful and chart a better direction like his predecessor. I must tell you, if there's anything you want to score Governor Yaya Bello for, is security. I recall even within Okene, when he discovered that this person is involved in banditry, involved in kidnapping, he will go there, demolish these people's house and arrest them immediately. So Governor Ododo must take action in that direction, locate them and make sure he tame these bad people before they take over the community. Because if you look at where the school is in Osara. In Osara, you still have some, I will not say unsecure area, like a bush, where they can actually hide. So you need to do more, having a sky view of those and clear the bushes and do more. I think he should do something. But I trust it because with his predecessor, he wouldn't want to take it lightly with him.
Not even the predecessor is in the eye of the storm. Of course, we'll not go into that. He's in the court. Even today, there was, a ruling of sorts. The High Court judge in Abuja asking Yahya Bello to actually present himself.
We look forward to how the event unfolds.
Yes, but it all revolves around of course, security, empowerment, and all that. Quite a number of students are still in captivity, and it's like a national tragedy now.
It's becoming a serious issue that we need to look into. Now it's has gone beyond primary and secondary school. Now it has also get to university. Imagine the audacity, the courage to go to higher institution to kidnapping. They said they are shooting sporadically.
Yes.
So imagine that height of very sad one. I think, but I'm sure government will swing into. And you also see among the Ododo 100 days activities said he visited NSA. So we want to see how that will reflect in this case.
All right, and then on the political scene, the drama in Rivers State.
Right.
Now we have like 5 legitimate lawmakers. Because if others, about 25 of them have been sacked today by the court. What does this portray? You are an economist, but of course, economy and politics.
Yes, political economy.
They're hand in hand, yes.
Right. You see, the issue of it's becoming a national issue. It's beyond that state now, and that's why I think the president must take action. Because I recall it was yesterday, the former chief of staff to Fubara was given appointment by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Okay. So he must also take his stand in this. Then for those lawmakers, when you leave your political party, in this case PDP, you are moving to APC. APC now. PDP declared their seats vacant, and the law has taken its course now and said you are not members.
And that you cross-carpeted.
That's a serious issue for them, and that would have weakened the Wike camp the more, because they're actually using that legislative house to actually deal with the governor, but
overruling him on every other thing.
So I think then the governor too must lead as a governor, because sometimes you won't take issue the way it is. If not, it will affect governance. Because her governance is suffering.
People are saying he talks too much also.
Well, I think will I say talk too much, or is much more emotional when he sees issue. Imagine when Dixon, Dixon,
yeah,
the former governor of Bayelsa, visited him. It is after that he started making some utterances. So he has to maybe be much more mindful of what he says in the public. Remember also when they signed the pact, after the signing of the pact, when he is doing his role, when the squad at the other side are not doing, instead of him to at least study a bit, started talking. So I think, but don't blame him. Also, he felt challenged, because let's put this side by side. Would Wike have taken such let's flip this
Wike, I think, also gave Amechi a run for his.
In fact, all the governors in that state, if you look at it, that's how they normally do exactly.
All right, we hope that they sort it out for the benefit of the people. Now back to the topic of discussion today: taxes. Why taxes? Are they really necessary? Taxes as a whole.
Right.
Yes. This is actually some questions people on the streets ask us.
Right.
It looks very, unnecessary question, but I have to ask it.
Right.
Are taxes necessary?
Yes. Okay. Taxes necessary, not only necessary, very necessary, because the government gets to manage the country, the economy, virtually everything through taxes. We are even lucky in a country called Nigeria, because we have some natural resources like oil that is saving us from humongous. Some country only live on a country like Norway. Virtually everything is being taxed. But when you tax citizens, what do you give them in return? That is the question. So when you tax us and we see that you have spent this on social infrastructure, we have good road, we have electricity, we have good education, we will not complain. But the problem is that why the tax, and there is nothing to show for it. And in this case of levy, I think, naturally we have tax that covered our security, tax that cover a lot. So now when you are now separating cybersecurity and now say you are taxing people on it, that brings us to this question: why are you separating cyber security?
I'm sure by the time we open the line,
right,
many Nigerians will even ask question: what is cyber security?
Basically, when you say cyber security, it simply means internet connected systems, both hardware and software, and our data protection. I must tell you, if banks completely comes out and say this is how much they are trading off to secure their
assets.
You know that it's quite an issue that needs urgent attention. But the question is this: in as much as when we are budgeting every year, you budget for security,
which we mentioned.
Right. So why are you separating cyber security? Another question is this: why NSA, National Security Advisor? That is another question.
If not NSA, where? Is this another side of the story?
That's a good one. You know, our police, there's a particular segment that deal with
cyber
something.
crime.
We also have, even in the Ministry of Science and Technology, we also have people that manage those things. So we also have NIT, that a lot of them are agencies. Even now they are creating, I think there's a center that the money will go.
Yeah, right. Inside the office.
Inside the office of National Security. So yes. It's even better you create an independent agency, because if you look at it very well, you know, we are looking at the size of the money itself and the accountability of the money. Okay, let's give us a good example. Last year, there's about 60 trillion transaction online. So if you look at 0.005, yes. Right, and people are confusing 0.5 and 0.0.
They are different.
No, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. The other one is 0.005 and then 0.5.
Yes, it's the same thing.
It's two zeros.
It's the same thing. So it's just 0.5%. So the question is this: if we actually go through 60 trillion online transfer last year, and you want to check it, how much is 0.5 in this case? Okay. That's about 300 billion.
300 billion.
Yes.
Last year.
Yes.
That is 0.5%.
0.5%.
So now, yes. That was
and you will recall, as at last year, yes, Emefiele and his team are saying, do what is called financial inclusion. Let everybody do online transaction. Yes. Is that not what they encourage us to do? Remember, in era, all different methods to make sure Nigeria comes into online and pay through online platform. Now you are now saying that those online will be charged. That not a contradiction?
Can we say it was a booby trap? When people were encouraged to,
to go online transaction, but now it's been a charge. By and large, there's a statement that clears it. I think the people that actually communicate for maybe CBN and federal government need to do more. Now the National Assembly, especially House of Rep, now says that you are giving wrong perception.
Yes, a vague.
Exactly. That the main people they are charging is not everyone. You know, CBN said these are the exempted categories of people and businesses, education and what have you.
Yeah.
Now, but National Assembly is saying that no, it is from 5 agencies.
And I think we have it there.
Right.
Say, okay, let me read it. They say implementation of the Cyber Crimes Prohibition Amended Act 2024, Schedule of Exemptions. Now, it's a loan disbursement and repayment, salary payments, intra-account transfers within the same bank, intra-bank transfers between customers of the same bank, other financial institutions. There are many there. Number 12 there is saving and deposit, including transactions involving long-term investments, such as treasury bills. But you are an economist. You know, the number 16 there is transaction involving banks' internal accounts, such as suspend account. This look, somebody in my village, will he really make any sense out of this? Right, and that's why I said the communication was poor. This is what they projected. But the National Assembly said, no, you don't even need to mention people or categories. Only tell Nigerians this is where we are getting the money from. Which is from SEC, CBN. What is SEC? Security and Exchange Commission. That means all things that have to do with stock. Financial, yes. Insurance, you know, these are the areas you want to. People that has to do with maybe finance, and they are always in the cloud doing their transfer and what have you. So this is, if they have projected us to Nigerians and said these are the 5 agencies that they are going to get the money from, this wouldn't have been the issue. And that's why we say there's contradiction. A lot of things is vague in that amendment. You know, it has been there since 2015. You recall, but you know, it was placed on the table. Nigerians can raise the red flag very easily. And sometimes you see leaders being clever by half to test the waters, because nobody expected CBN to just give that blanket directive to banks to say, okay, it's commencing in the next 2 weeks, start deducting this. And following outcry, because we have all seen it, how newspapers and all that, went all out to call them out. And then yesterday, we saw the House of Representatives now coming. Are they really not coming, trying to calm nerves before they implement this in full gear?
There is even a confusion now. National Assembly said yes. That is, Senate said yes, they support it. House of Reps said no. Hold on. Which one are we going to follow? And they will start implementing this maybe next, maybe 12 days, because I remember it was 2 weeks. That's the direction since the day they actually bring that. But I must tell you this: one thing that we need to know: this government want to generate revenue at all costs. I think that is what we need to look at. Now, why did I say so? You will recall that when the president actually was campaigning, he actually said, we are going to bring people that not under the tax net into the tax net. We'll use taxation to get more money. So if you look at it critically, if the income is 100%, they said the money should domicile in CBN and 40% may go to NSA. Right. So if you say 40% is going to, or less we're going to NSA, where is the 60% actually going? And looking at that money, about 300 billion, at that level. So our major challenge is that why not one off? Then if you use it to build the infrastructure you want to build, maybe after 5 years you introduce it again. But now you're saying it's a continuous activities. It's an open one that at every year, every transaction, you deduct that money. And that's why the confusion
we
is
are
coming.
told that even in other climes, people pay taxes. But you don't see the level of disaffection, resentment in paying taxes. Why are people reluctant here?
Right. Thank you so much. Ideally, as an economist, our tax to GDP is low. We must say that in Nigeria.
And what does that mean for somebody who doesn't know GDP?
The level of GDP,
yes, that's gross domestic
product. There must be level of taxation for it, just like we will have GDP to borrowing, GDP to revenue. That's what I'm trying to say. But the thing is this: Nigeria, as a country, especially from this administration, I think it's a wrong time to introduce such levy.
Because the GDP is low?
Not that's not the reason. Because we have been exposed to a lot of I wouldn't want to say hardship, low purchasing power.
Yeah, the vagaries of economic policies.
Exactly. One from fuel subsidy removal. Remember, fuel subsidy is what touches every man in Nigeria, even though we don't know before now.
Which quadrupled cost of living.
Exactly. Now we know. The issue of forex floating of naira, the issue of also custom. You look at custom as well now. Every time custom is also increasing their tariff.
Yes.
So if you look at all this humongous way of taking away from government, from citizens, because if you check now, government now have enough money, because even the state and federal government before they share 600 billion virtually every month, but now they share above 1 trillion, like 1.2 trillion. So that means they have much more money. But now look at custom tariff, look at forex. Before there is a window. If you want to travel out, there's a window that they give you for education. But now there is no window.
They have closed all that.
Honestly, even though they have actually adjusted in the BDC and
a lot of issues are legal.
Right.
I think we should now invite Nigerians to come.
Right. That's fine.
Yes. Now, back to the big issue, analyzing the Cybersecurity Levy and the burden of multiple taxations on Nigerians. On your screen, you can see a breakdown of the Cybersecurity Levy set at 0.5% of the value of electronic transactions. This is what Nigerians will be paying henceforth to ensure cybersecurity. By this latest levy, which is in addition to other charges. Aliyu, can we have a look at it? Sender now bears 5 naira on 1,000. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Then 50 naira on 10,000, 500 on 100,000, 5,000 on 1,000, and then 50,000 on 10 million.
Right, and this is the major issue now. The thing is this: in the long run, this burden is going to be borne by consumers.
But they are pretending that it is some people.
Because if you say banks should pay, if you say maybe a manufacturer want to send 10 million naira and is trading off, this amount, the long run is going to shift it to the consumers.
And we have stamp duty
so that's
there,
the thing.
Aliyu. Yes, stamp duty. We also have transfer
array
fees.
of money that we pay.
We have value added tax.
Right.
0.75 on 10,000 transfer fee. Oh my God. SME fee.
SMS fee.
Yeah, SMS fee. Senders and receivers bear 4 naira on each electronic transfer.
Yes.
And if you look at the total number of people who use GSM now, and there are,
I think we have 9 levy that
9
we pay. Yes,
separate levies.
9 separate levy. Because if you do transfer also, you have to pay. If you do SMS, you have to pay. If you do USSD, you have to pay. So you pay a whole lot of them, and that's the problem.
Okay. All right, now viewers, you can join this discussion live through the number displayed on your screen. Keep your comment precise and avoid foul language. Over to you as we expect your calls to comment on this all-important issue. What should government do with tax collected? Yes.
Right. What I think now is that I think in as much as you see the numbers of people complaining about the negative impact that tax may bring, I think government can say, please tarry a bit. Government should find other means. There's a budget for security already. Why not go through that and manage it? Because if you now say every situation you now be taxing us, are you going to someday tax us for using the road that you build? Or
is the road there?
So that's the question.
People have started even asking whether very soon will start paying for the airway.
That is the problem. So we just have to look at that very, 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 very. Nigerians are ready to pay tax if there is value for money in that tax, because and I must tell you, we are paying tax already. If you are paying by source that they remove your
yes, of course.
money.
We have, for instance, the personal income tax,
right,
which once you are working, you have to pay.
So why are you now paying cybersecurity separately
apart from personal income tax? That's what I'm saying.
So are you going to now start taxing each activities?
We also have company income tax,
right,
which boils down to somebody who buys the products from that company.
So, and that company tax company also transfer all the taxes to the buyer, and that's the problem.
And then what about value added tax?
Wow, that's 7.5%
percent
already.
Everything.
So if you now tax value added tax and you're now bringing cyber security
in addition to the company,
let's even stay at VAT. Let's look at VAT itself. So if you collect VAT is also meant for you to create security. So why are we paying for security separately? That is the question.
And we have the withholding tax.
That's 10%.
The petroleum profit tax, capital gain tax, stamp duties, education tax, even what you mentioned earlier, National Information Technology Development Levy.
And that's why I was thinking there's a special committee on tax reform by Ayodele, by presidential. So we are still expecting him to bring a blueprint that said no. Most of these companies, you need to take note of this. Most of these companies are operating in a particular place. They pay federal government tax, state
yes,
tax.
It's like we have a
right.
To interact with you is Mohammed Sani from Duse.
Yes, of course.
I think this should be Jigawa State. Yes, Mohammed, welcome to the program.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, let's hear you.
Regarding this levy the government is imposing day by day on Nigerians, the government has to look at the purchasing powers of Nigerians. Let me use myself as an example. I did some little analysis, I think yesterday or so. About 10 years ago, I compared my salary, which is about 50,000 naira at the time. At the time, it was about $333. But compared to my salary 10 years after, it has doubled. But my spending power is now equivalent to $100. And the government is imposing taxes after the removal of fuel subsidy. Some months ago, probably a year ago, you can fill up your tank with just 15,000 naira, but now it has to go over 40,000 naira. So my advice is to government is to look within themselves. They should start cutting down those humongous expenses, traveling abroad expenses, those unreasonable or what have you allowances they have been paying to themselves, senators, and what have you. Please let them give us an air to breathe so that Nigerians can survive, so that businessmen, civil servants, they all can see the value of what they have.
All right.
That's my contribution.
An excellent one indeed. Thank you very much, Mohammed Sani, for calling from Jigawa. You heard what he said, Ali?
Yes, I quite agree with Sani because purchasing power has been eroded.
Look at how he computed his income 10 years ago.
Exactly.
He is like 1/3 now. Right. Remaining
so
there.
That's the problem. The purchasing power is a problem. So now that we have issue with purchasing power, your salary is 100,000, and do you know what? The worst thing is that 70% of Nigerians' income are going into food. Right. So if your 70% is going to food, you need to pay rent, you need to pay for education, you need other logistics. So health. In fact, health is worse now. We pray we don't fall sick because drug is very, very expensive now to buy, to purchase. So if you look at purchasing power, it has gone down considerably, and this cut across beyond even maybe particular area. It's virtually all Nigerians that is feeling the brunt of it, and this is actually because of fuel subsidy removal.
All right, we have another caller from Kaduna. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, what is your name?
My name is Godswill, sir.
Nam? What?
Godswill.
Okay, Godwill, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir.
Are you paying your taxes in Nigeria?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied that you are paying and you are getting value for it?
Not at all, sir.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Okay, let's hear you. Why? Then what is your take?
Yeah.
Yes. Hello? Hello, Mohammed? Godwin. It's like we lost.
Right.
But he said he is not even satisfied with what he's paying. Why do you think he is not satisfied? And why are people in other countries, even though they complain also that taxes are heavy, but they don't really, cry as we are crying here?
It's just because of the purchasing power. If at all you earn 100,000 and you are trading off 20% for food, 10% for maybe children education, another 10% for rent, then another 10% for other sundries, and you have savings of 50, maybe 1,000 naira, that would have helped you to develop capital. By developing capital, there will be investment. By having investment, the economy will actually grow, and that's how it actually works. So paying taxes is not a problem, but seeing the value of the taxes.
Value in the sense, are you saying that maybe
social infrastructure, availability of social infrastructure, like road, like health, like education. If you look at all this is where our money is actually going into. How many Nigerians can send their children to public primary school?
And we have education tax.
That's it. So how many Nigerians?
And I think what is the essence of the education tax?
Well, is to develop the education sector.
So that people can, after you pay, maybe get it as subsidized.
It's even general. They are not looking at who is paying it, but to the benefits of the general reality of Nigerian, such as having good infrastructure for education. But how many do we have that quality education? It is not a school that they said bandits came to ravage. Now it's a school. Where is the security? So time will come now that you have to pay security, that such security separately. So that's why federal government must make sure that there is value for what we are doing. And like I said, this federal government now have more money, so they should have done. At least let us see what they actually
for what they
not
have.
Elephant,
they have squeezed
not
from
elephant
us.
Project
in the last one.
We don't want elephant project. We want what will touch the lives of people directly. I can tell you, most people said there is no food. There is food, but there is no money to buy food. Because, for instance, somebody who is in Bauchi, who has produce, farm produce, that want to transport it down to Abuja. The cost of buying the farm produce is not the problem. The cost of transporting that food is the problem. Because the prices has gone up. And now if you are a seller and you went there to buy, won't you transfer the burden to your customers? And that's how it is. And that's why, if you recall, even President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared state of emergency on food security. But as it translates to what we should see, look at our inflation now. 40% food inflation.
40%.
It's 40%. It's even beyond the average 33% of inflation. So that is serious. So we must look at the supply chain, make sure we solve that problem. And what is the cost of it? It is fuel subsidy removal. Recall, even before first subsidy removal, we expect a lot of things to be in place. These are the problems. So now, with these challenges that Nigerians are having, there's still what is called levy. Remember, if you say telcos should pay cybersecurity, this is the problem now. They also now fight and let us introduce telecom tax. You know, they tarry a bit on it's still on table.
Yeah.
They are still considering whether they should bring it or they shouldn't bring it. But I can tell you the next thing is to introduce that telecommunication
so that they can
tax.
now recoup
exactly
what they have been asked to.
Yes, because they have to even the telcos have to transfer that. You also recall that among people that have not even changed their prices is telcos.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, we must allow telcos to invest on infrastructure. You know what?
So that it will not go back like this cost.
Like,
anyway,
thank you. So
we have Abraham from Benue State. Welcome to the program, Abraham. Hello? Hello, Abraham. Are you there? It's like we're having some challenges with.
These are why we must allow them to invest on the infrastructure.
Are you consultant to one of them?
No, not at all.
Yes, but now back still on the cyber security, because people are not really comfortable. The House of Reps yesterday, it's not that they said they should not implement it. What they said is they should issue another circular to clear the air.
To clear the air.
Is that enough from the House of Reps?
That is not enough, and that's why I said I don't understand their stand on this case, because this bill actually passed through you, and there's a lot of vague things that you say you want to correct by the amendment, but having amended, you still see the Nigeria cry in there that having look at every sundry taxes or poor purchasing power, we are still saying that no, they should tarry a bit. But with what they are saying now, but I actually fault CBN to an extent, because you know, when you are giving out circular, you know, the basis for that circular was not justified. They are supposed to say these 5 organizations are where we are actually targeted, but they are still keeping quiet on manufacturing sector.
That is why
so if the manufacturers don't want to send 300
many
billion,
people are saying it was deliberate. Some people are saying it was deliberate.
Yes.
That memo to test the waters, because you have all the people you expect in CBN to be meticulous.
Hello.
So the vague, you know, circular issued, some people say it was deliberate. And now, even the interjection by the House of Reps, it was also deliberate. You can see now the frayed nerves are a bit calm. But in the next 2 weeks, maybe without even making any announcement, they will start the deductions.
well, it appears uncoordinated, because if you look at it very well, I don't think NSA have anything to say. It's still CBN that is going to communicate, and all the money will also be in their custody. So for me, I think there is a gap. But since Nigeria are looking at it that there is a game that they are trying to, like, you know, not allow Nigerians to actually complain that more. But for me, I think the major thing is that government wants to generate revenue, and that is the target. So because if you look at the calculation I just gave to you, 300 billion, you know.
Assuming they started the deduction last
Exactly.
year, maybe from January to December.
January 2023 to December, the transaction online is about 60 trillion. So if you remove 0.5%, you see that it's about 300 billion. Why will it be an open-ended one? So you are saying that every year you need, because I'm sure people will come into the online net the more. Are you saying that if next year if this year we have like 80, you know, trillion recorded, you continue like that. So what infrastructure are you actually trying to establish? I can also tell you that most of these people they are trying to fight for also have their own mechanism to fight cyber security. Banks are doing a whole lot. They invest in it. Even SEC invest a whole lot. Even insurance, anything financial sector, you know that it's a very area that you must continue to invest in it. Though we also want to recognize that yes, there's an attack on them, but not to now tax Nigerians for that.
And when you look at it, the way policymakers water our appetite before bringing the other side, for instance, now many people don't really bother to go to banking hall because they feel from
the comfort of their house
they can transfer millions of naira. So even if you now say I will stop doing that, it becomes more burdensome for you to go to
when you know, even to transfer from your home, is it not better? Imagine the cost of transporting yourself to that bank and imagine the deduction itself. So that's why I said they encourage all of us to come online, to be doing transfer via online. But now look at the burden introduced again. So it's a serious issue.
And then there is this call on POS operators, about 1.9 million of them, right?
Yes.
That they must also register with Corporate Affairs Commission. There was a pushback. You know, many Nigerians complain about time. I read it somewhere. The registrar there, he said, no, it's not meant for them. They will not be taxed. It's just for them. There is a law in Nigeria that whatever you are doing, you have to register. There only is a registration of business name. It is not coming with any tax.
I want to agree with that. It's very, very important because I recall there was a cyber attack issue where somebody about 150,000 naira was taken off from his account, and they find it difficult to actually trace, a lot of. So if they are actually registered, it's not a limited liability. It's a business name. But according to what Ease of Doing Business told us the last time, you can be in comfort of your house and register for a business if that is operational. There is a difference between being operational.
So the fear is that by the time you do that, they have everything about you, while they can help to protect you and to also track those who
transactions
overboard. The time that they will introduce this 0.5% on them, they will already be in the tax net.
But they are in tax net already. I mean, the banks. Most online banks are already in the tax net. They only want to have those people that are transacting via POS, because if you look at the level of transaction in the POS, it's quite humongous. So sometimes there isn't to manage. Anything you don't monitor, you cannot manage.
You cannot manage.
Exactly. So that's what they want to do. They want to make sure they monitor them so that they can manage them. Perhaps also CBN have a way of measuring how much is in circulation. So you want to know, maybe we have 3.6 trillion in circulation. So with all these people registering, they can keep them in that net and know how much is in circulation every day.
And another issue, even though the head of the presidential task force, right?
Yes.
Presidential committee on these taxes and all that, he said there was a need to review even the VAT that he recanted, of course. But many Nigerians believe that maybe in the next few months they will jack up the tax to 10%.
So when they say tax reform, most people, that statement is actually vague. We didn't know is maybe to reduce or to rearrange. So what I expect from him is to look at double taxation. That is where I even want him to work, because most manufacturing companies, they pay double tax, and it's quite burdensome. Even telcos, that's what they are suffering. And most telecommunication company, they have their mast in ABC local government. ABC local government will collect tax from them. The states will collect tax from them. The federal government will also collect tax from them. You see how burdensome it is. So I think these are what I expect him to actually review. And then according to the president, they want to bring more people into the tax net. So are the people you want to bring to, maybe they are not being taxed. It's not bad to actually tax, but when the tax is becoming much more burdensome, when the tax is not are looking at the value. You know, like for instance, now you're also taxing these people. You're not saying you are taxing them from their profit. You know, that's another thing we are not looking at. So if a company is transferring 300 billion, you are actually levy that 300 billion. Either it is profit or the total money transaction is actually, you know, it's a two different thing.
Yeah.
Your profit and your transaction.
All right. It's like we have a caller from Benue State. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay,
when
let's
we look
hear
at policy in Nigeria, when we look at policy in Nigeria,
Yes.
in fact, it's as if the policymakers, they are not serious. Because from the last time I take, most of them, they have stopped their efforts. When they want to run policy, you have to choose very well before putting it into implementation or whatever. But they are there, you see them, you have to do that. In those things about economy, how to build your economy. But if you want to put everything now, it's just to their own favor. They forget about the purpose of the map. This is not good. Looking at this advanced country, you want to put any policy into place, like this is a military policy, fiscal policy, you must have to go outside there, make research, to hear about what people will talk concerning this policy before they will put it into place. But in Nigeria, they can wake up overnight and say, this is the place. Which is not good. Which is not good because the masses they are suffering. If you look at the first subsidy, there is no provision on ground. No provision on ground. And I don't think government is planning to put something on ground. It's not to do anything about the subsidy, removing the subsidy. You have to put in place something that will do what will put or make people to believe that yes, this is what we are taking. And in terms of this salvation, this is not salvation. The fact that they are paying too, but they are not citizens of what salvation. It is nothing.
All right.
You will pay tax and again.
Yes, Adam. Round up, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
In paying this tax now, people are not going to pay tax payment. Nigeria should do something. I advise the government to do what? To reverse this issue of what this cybersecurity was. It will reverse because you are taking more. You are toxic.
All right. Thank you very much, Adam, for your contribution. He's calling on the president to share this idea for now.
Well, what I actually gather from what he said now is that for federal government policy to take place, they are quick to do that. You recall when they want to remove the fuel subsidy, it was a policy pronouncement on the day and said, no, they don't look at what they should put in place before. For instance, now, 1 year down the line, we have not seen CNG.
That is compressed natural gas buses.
Yes, we have not seen that.
The EVs.
1 year down the line, refinery is not still working. 1 year down the line, we have not seen palliative transforming people's life, and you just pronounce that period. So the same thing with this. Why not put some measure in place that Nigeria would have seen that yes, this is the level at which the federal government has been defending us? Because my concern now is that are we now paying separately for security? The essence of government is security of life, welfare and what? Security.
Yes.
So if you look at these two things, are we going to pay for them separately in as much as we pay other income tax, education levy and whatever? So I don't think they need to even mention it separately. They should build it into the budget and into the national security budget.
I asked a guest we hosted here yesterday, and it was actually based on calls that we received. They are talking about cybersecurity. What about the land security? Almost all our forests now are infested by bandits, by terrorists, and
so are we going to pay for that separately? That is the question. Because when you say security, it does not matter the nature.
Border. It has no border.
It has no border. It's borderless. But you must tame that security at every point in time. That's why we have different security. We have road safety, we have NSCDC, we have police, so you must make sure you take charge of security. But by the time you are now separating this, separating that, and using that to generate, is becoming
security architecture.
That's why we are having worry from, and it's not a good one for Nigeria.
Now beyond that, how do you think government can get the buy-in of Nigerians to embrace payment of tax, apart from the ones that have been imposed on them? Like a personal income now, whether you like it or not, they deduct it automatically from your salary. Value-added tax, you have no control. Even stamp duties, education, all these are taxes that you don't have control. In fact, we have subjected our lives to some of these taxes. So what government do you think must do to get the buy-in of Nigerians so that they will be willing to pay?
Yes, the only thing they need to do first is the operationalization of the one they are getting. Okay. So the one you are collecting, how are you using it? Our education, you are collecting education tax. What are you using it to do? Come to Nigeria and say, okay, so here we have 300 billion. These are where we actually use, and people can really relate with it. If we can relate with all these things, yes, we will agree that yes. I can tell you there was a time I have experience of internet challenges. Do you know when the money they took was 30,000? By the time I will go to security agency and tell them that this is my plight, so I want us to retrace this person, they ask me, you have to pay 30,000. The equal amount of the amount I traded off, I have to back off. Because why should I have to pay this humongous money
to recover
this actually? Because my aim was not even to recover the money, to actually tame this person. I won't do it to the next person. Do you get? But when I get there, I discovered that it was a serious one. And that's an example of how tax actually work. Actually, you are paying Nigerian police, Nigerian army through the taxes you are collecting. Is that not so? So how far have they secured Nigerian? That's the question.
And the last question is, like most of these laws, they are not meant to favor the poor. As you rightly said now, for instance, if somebody now, shortchange you, maybe, you transfer money into his account by mistake. Maybe you transfer 100,000. It's very difficult for you, even though you know the number that you transferred the money, but for you to get the identity of that person, it will take you maybe 3 months or
in fact,
more.
They will say go and get bank court affidavits, go and get clarification from police, bring your lawyers. All those processes become very cumbersome. And that so you wouldn't want, you will even let it go, because the trouble is more than actually the what you need to get.
Very sad. Aliyu, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The time has actually gone. I wish we have more time. But from all indication, we had a lot of communication challenge with many of our viewers who wanted to contribute to the program. But now that notwithstanding, we thank you very much for coming, and we hope to have you some other time.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, viewers, in the studio here is Aliyu Ilias, an economist and development expert who actually helped in shaping the conversation today, which is on cybersecurity levy introduced by the government. We hope you enjoy the conversation. Thank you for being there. Join us next week for more interesting packages of Daily Politics on Trust TV. For now, bye-bye. I'm Hamza Idris.